It is a very rare occasion when we see developers and CEOs defending us gamers, but that is exactly what is happening with the No Rest for the Wicked CEO Thomas Mahler, because he is rebuking journos and defending gamers fighting back against woke ideology. This is a That Park Place article. It says the No Rest for the Wicked CEO Thomas rebuked a German game journo, Maurice Weber, and issued a defense for gamers fighting back against woke ideology. This is a very rare thing that we are seeing here because, of course, this means that he's basically blacklisting his game and company from being covered fairly by game journalists. Now, I've heard a lot of really positive things about No Rest for the Wicked, and I personally haven't played it myself, but I definitely want to check it out even more than I already did. It says that he took to X on May 13th, where he detailed he was contacted by Weber for an article that will likely be published in the German outlet GameStar. He wrote, "I already know I might get myself into trouble once again by posting this, but I just replied to Maurice, a German journo who is affiliated with GameStar, and I do think it's especially important these days that we always remind ourselves to try to keep an open mind and try to understand even those who think differently than we do." He then shared a response he sent to him regarding people who are apparently fed up by woke culture. There are so many people who are fed up by this and so upset with the fact that we cannot play a video game or consume and watch a TV show without having to worry about woke ideologies infiltrating and infecting these properties. And it is happening more and more frequently, and that's why people like myself and individuals like you try to fight back against it, because it is very prominent. Things like cancel culture are very prominent. All of these different things that are, of course, referenced here. I think it all makes sense. This is basically a backlash against cancel culture and similar phenomena because everyone has had enough of that nonsense. I'd suggest you take a more nuanced view, especially since you position yourself as a journo, yet you often display a narrow-minded attitude and don't seem to question what's actually going on, and that is something we should expect from a journalist. I totally and completely agree. There are still a few journalists within the industry that are half decent, but unfortunately many of them are mediocre and they do not have a nuanced view of the world. They simply have this narrow-minded view and attitude when it comes to the industry and also gamers, and it's so unfortunate because there are so many people who don't really keep up with gaming news but simply go to the Kotakus and the Polygons to get a little bit of information, maybe when they're bored and scrolling their social media feeds, but they are not being given a fair, unbiased view of the industry. It says, of course, just because you personally haven't been affected by cancel culture doesn't mean there hasn't been a lot of foolishness happening, and it's still ongoing, and it's only a matter of time before it impacts you too, and I completely agree with this. That is why I try so often to talk about cancel culture and people affected by it, because unfortunately there are so many amazing actors and individuals, from streamers to developers within these industries, these entertainment industries, who have been affected and ultimately, canceled by people who are outraged over every little thing. While speaking your mind should not be grounds for cancellation, he has put a target on his and his company's back at this point, and I'm sure that there are going to be journalists who say this is why developers should stick to creating games, right? Because they just don't understand what woke really is, and they're just feeding into toxic behavior from neckbeards on social media. That's always what it is, feeding the racists, the sexists, just the trolls. And I'm sure that he is going to be attacked ruthlessly over the next few days by this simple statement, and it's so sad to see, but it is also so amazing to see a CEO from a very up-and-coming gaming company rebuking journos and defending gamers, because that happens far too infrequently now. But that's all that I really had to discuss in this video. Let everyone know your thoughts in the comments down below. If you enjoyed this, give it a like, and if you didn't, give it a dislike. I appreciate your support either way, but I will talk to you all again in the next video really soon.